Have you ever had that spine-chilling, suffocating sensation that someone is watching? That creeping paranoia where the hairs on the back of your neck stand up and every shadow looks like a threat? That is exactly the living nightmare Andre Richardson is currently trapped in. And let me tell you, the walls are closing in fast. Beyond the Gates has just shifted gears from a standard romantic drama into a full-blown psychological thriller, and I am absolutely here for it. We need to talk about the sheer terror unfolding in the Dupree-Richardson household. Because while on the surface, everything looks like a picture-perfect fairy tale, beneath the veneer, it is a ticking time bomb of secrets, lies, and a past that refuses to stay buried. Let us do a quick recap of the absolute chaos currently dominating the screen. Dani Dupree is currently drowning in a sea of her own guilt, suffocating under the weight of her illicit, panic-induced elevator hookup with her ex-husband, Bill Hamilton. Meanwhile, her best friend and business partner, Pamela Curtis, is hustling hard to get their modeling agency off the ground, even trying to recruit the incredibly handsome Dr. Kial Rollins as their newest male model. But the real story, the narrative that is about to blow this entire show wide open, is Andre. Ever since receiving that anonymous, cryptic late wedding gift, a highly specific bottle of 2018 Louis Broussard champagne, Andre has transformed from the supportive, loving husband into a paranoid, terrified man who is constantly looking over his shoulder. Let us break down the psychology of this champagne bottle. To the untrained eye, or even to Dani, it just looks like a fancy, expensive, albeit delayed wedding present. It looks completely normal. But that is the genius of this psychological warfare. Only an insider, only someone who knows the darkest chapters of Andre's history, understands the sheer, paralyzing fear that this specific bottle represents. We watched him stare obsessively at an old photograph of himself in France, holding that exact same brand of champagne. This is not a coincidence. This is a calling card. It is a message from the shadows that says, I know who you are, I know where you are, and I am coming for you. The sheer terror of knowing your daily life is being monitored is enough to drive anyone insane, and Andre is currently living in that state of perpetual dread. He knows he is being watched. He can feel it in his bones. This is why he ultimately breaks down and confides in Ted Richards. Now, let us analyze this choice of confidant for a second. Why Ted? Because Ted is a safe space. Ted is family, but he is also a man who understands the complexities of making mistakes and harboring regrets. Andre desperately needs a sounding board because he has absolutely no idea how to stop this invisible stalker. He is terrified. And when we witness that raw, vulnerable conversation between Andre and Ted, we finally realize the magnitude of what is at stake. What makes this entire situation so incredibly ironic and brilliantly written is the connection to Bill Hamilton. Remember when Bill was so fiercely jealous and suspicious of Andre that he actually hired a private investigator to dig into his past? Bill threw money and resources at trying to uncover Andre's dirty secrets, desperate to prove to Dani that her new lover was a fraud. But the PI found nothing, absolutely zero red flags. Bill wanted to find a threat, but he was looking in all the wrong places. The threat to Dani and Andre's marriage is not coming from Bill's petty jealousy. It is coming from a deep, dark, buried secret in Andre's past that was so well hidden, even a professional investigator could not unearth it. But now, that secret has found its own way to the surface. While Andre is spiraling into a pit of paranoia, Dani is fighting her own internal demons. The contrast between these two characters right now is a masterclass in dramatic irony. Dani is walking around carrying the suffocating guilt of her elevator hookup with Bill. She feels like she cannot breathe, terrified that this one moment of weakness during the tornado is going to destroy the beautiful life she is trying to build with Andre. She thinks her secret is the biggest threat to their marriage. She has absolutely no idea that while she is agonizing over a momentary lapse in judgment, her husband is literally being hunted by a ghost from his past. They are sitting in the exact same house, sharing the exact same bed, completely oblivious to the fact that they are both harboring marriage-destroying secrets. Enter Pamela Curtis, the ultimate distraction. Pamela is a whirlwind of energy, completely focused on the business, and she provides a stark contrast to the heavy, suffocating atmosphere of Dani and Andre's lives. Pamela is currently on a mission to find the perfect male model for their agency, and she sets her sights on none other than Dr. Keo Rollins. She corners him at Uptown, pitching him the idea of stepping in front of the camera. It is a light, fun, and almost comedic moment when Keo politely but firmly declines her offer. He is a busy doctor, and frankly, he is a bit too occupied with Nicole Dupree to worry about striking a pose on a runway. But Pamela's relentless hustle eventually leads to a moment that completely shatters Andre's fragile state of mind. Pamela invites Dani and Andre to Uptown to deliver what she thinks is incredible, career-defining news. Tia Allen's team, a massive national media powerhouse, wants to do an exclusive comeback interview with Dani, but they do not just want Dani, they want the whole. They want Andre, they want the family, they want the perfect, glamorous narrative of Dani Dupree's triumphant return to the spotlight. For Pamela and Dani, this is the golden ticket. But for Andre, this is a literal death sentence. When Pamela drops this news, Andre's physical reaction is visceral. He looks visibly nauseous. The color drains from his face. He completely loses his temper, becoming highly sensitive and defensive, actively dodging questions and trying to shut the conversation down entirely. To Dani and Pamela, this reaction is bizarre. Sure, they know Andre prefers to be behind the camera rather than in front of it, but this level of panic is highly suspicious. Why would a photographer have such a visceral, aggressive hatred for the media spotlight? Let us analyze the logic. If you are being stalked by a dangerous figure from a hidden past, the absolute last thing you want is your face plastered across national television in a high-profile interview. Visibility is vulnerability. If Tia Allen's team broadcasts his face, his location, and his new life to the world, whoever is sending him that French champagne will not just be watching from the shadows anymore, they will have a direct, illuminated path right to his front door. Andre's panic is not just stage fright, it is a primal survival instinct. He is a man backed into a corner, desperately trying to keep the lights turned off so the monsters cannot find him. And the monsters are already at the door. During that very scene at Uptown, while Andre is visibly spiraling and trying to distract himself with a complex handshake, the camera reveals a chilling detail. Someone is standing outside the club, secretly watching him. The stalker is no longer just sending cryptic gifts. They are physically present in Fairmont Crest. They are tracking his movements. The psychological warfare is escalating into physical proximity, and Andre is completely trapped. This brings us to a major contradiction and a brilliant twist in the narrative. Andre has always been presented as the stable, reliable, emotionally available rock for Dani. He was the safe harbor after the chaotic storm of her marriage to Bill. But what if Andre's foundation is built on quicksand? What if the man Dani married is a carefully constructed persona designed to hide a history of crime, danger, or profound betrayal? If Bill's private investigator could not find the secret, it means Andre went to extraordinary, perhaps illegal lengths to erase his past. You do not erase your past unless your past is trying to kill you. Here is my twist perspective on the whole situation. What if the stalker and the Tia Allen interview are connected? Think about it. A stalker wants to force their victim out of hiding. What better way to flush Andre out into the open than by orchestrating a massive media spotlight on his wife? What if the person watching from the shadows has ties to the media or manipulated the situation to ensure Tia Allen's team requested Andre's presence specifically? It is a brilliant, terrifying strategy. Force the target into the light or force them to destroy their own life, trying to stay in the dark. Andre is currently at a complete dead end. He cannot hide this secret forever. The paranoia is already eating him alive, causing him to lash out at Dani and Pamela and making him look incredibly suspicious. The more he tries to suppress this ghost from France, the more it is going to bleed into his current reality. He is going to have to face this secret head on. Because a stalker who sends a 2018 Louis Broussard champagne is not someone who just walks away. They are patient, they are precise, and they are waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As we watch this psychological thriller unfold, we are left with a lingering, terrifying question. Dani is terrified that her momentary lapse of judgment in an elevator will destroy her marriage. But what if there is no marriage left to destroy? Will Andre's dark, inescapable past burn their entire lives to the ground before Dani even gets the chance to confess her own sins. The clock is ticking in Fairmont Crest, and the shadows are only getting longer.